This is really about being free to create what you want your life to look like. We each are our own hero. And how do we take the challenges that come our way and see those as the birth process of us becoming heroic? Can you meet that judgment that ultimately will surface with neutrality?
This is the Wall Street Coach Podcast with Kim and Curtin.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, to the Wall Street Coach Podcast with me, Kim and Curtin, your host, and Lucas Peterson. Hello, Lucas.
Hello, Kim. How are you?
I am having a wild and adventurous day. Had a really crazy week, and I'm looking forward to talking to you and having this podcast conversation today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. One wild and crazy thing is you took your first trade.
My first trade. I'm very excited. It was really quite, I think most of all, I was curious after I took it and how it was going to go, whether I was going to want to do more. And so this morning, Tim and Stephen and I recorded the Steady Trade podcast, and they're like, so? I was like, I want more. And they were like, yes, of course you want more. So that was really good. So I did a crypto play. I got a crypto. What is that the right language? I don't even know the language. All right. So because Bryce Davis, who I want to give a shout out to him at Stocks to Trade, he's one of the trainers there. And he just suggested, as we were talking about me just getting some skin in the game, he said that there was it was very likely that Bitcoin was going to go above 50 this long 3-day weekend, and that this would be a sympathy play if I took Mara, which is what I did. So I took Mara, did a overnight, so that's a swing trade, and I watched it through the weekend because, of course, I had skin in the game, and I must have asked him 17 times, if this doesn't go the way I wanted to, will I lose more than $112, which is what I bought 3 shares. And he was like, no. I was like, but what if it does this? Then could I lose more? He's like, no. And if it does that, then could I lose? Like, I was like looking for the leak holes. And so Stephen asked me this morning, well, what was it like emotionally for you as you waited to see? And I said, I accepted in the moment I took the trade that I might never see that $112 ever again. So anything better than me losing $112 was going to be a win. And Tim Bowen was like, that isn't good. No, almost everybody starts playing how they're going to spend their money, Kim. Very few are thinking they've already lost their money. Yeah. So he seemed to be very proud of me and was very happy. And then I spoke to what happened on Tuesday morning. Bryce checked in with me. Are you still in Mara? Yes, I am, because I probably wouldn't even know how to get out of it if I wanted to do it by myself. So he was like checking in on me. So I was like, he's like, where are you at? I told him it was up 1978. So I had a 20% profit, or close to a 20% profit. And I have to tell you, my first reaction, Lucas, was, maybe I stay in a little longer. Because I'm like, I'm making the money. Maybe I stay a little longer. And so I wrote to Bryce, maybe I stay in another day or two. And then he goes, that's one way to go. Or one could consider they just made a 20% profit on their first trade ever. And that could also be another way to go. And I was like, what's happening? I'm feeling greed right now. I want more. And then I was like, that's not good. I have to pull out. So I was like, take my 20% and come out. So I did. And within, I honestly think less than an hour, I looked at and it had already gone below 44. So I was very happy with myself that I didn't get tempted. However, talking to Tim Bowen this morning, he said, because of a couple of other factors, it wouldn't be a bad thing for me to maybe go back in and do the same thing again. Yeah. And he said, you sometimes can do that with the same ticker a couple of times. And, he's like, now, if you can just keep this consistency, Kim, of not letting the greed get a hold of you, and you keep making 20%. He's like, can you imagine a hedge fund that made 20%? People would be very happy with that. So he's like, just go after a couple of, singles. Of course, it was only $19.78, but I think it's at least a good beginning for me to just see what the physiology of that experience is. So,
yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you went through it all too, which is so awesome. Like you weren't completely detached from it, and
Correct.
like you actually cared. So that's
Correct.
a fun, exciting thing to see.
And I also was, curious. Like I after I sold it, like not only did I check it in that moment, but then I checked it a couple more times,
see where it went.
Yeah, to see where it went. And then I said to Tim, I probably shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, no, you're going to do it. Like, no, this is what you do. And he's like, welcome to our world. And he goes to the point where you're looking at your phone that even when people are talking to you, you're just like, because you're looking at Mara. And then you walk into a wall because you're looking at Mara. He's like, welcome to the tunnel hole, Kim. Welcome to the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And this is fun because this is why I do less day trading and more swing trades, is because I could just like stare at it all day and watch what I've traded and then watch what I've gotten out of and just like see like how good I was. And I feel like it's unhealthy for me. So I have to do mostly swing trades on like setups that I like. And so, and also it's, I don't know, it's just a little easier for me, but
no, I think that, and they were talking about it, and, Stephen Johnson was saying how he hasn't non-traded, ever looked at the market in 4 years, like not once. And, and Tim too was talking about, how it just becomes a way of life. And I said to both of them, like, I don't know if that's ever going to be me because, I have my business, I have clients, I don't know that I can give it that sort of time, commitment, and focus. I'm not saying I won't want to be able to give it that kind of focus, but there's other balls in the air that I have to tend to. So, I think I just have to get past this issue with it's only 5 hours right now, but it'll be 6 hours in a couple of weeks between me and New York here in Hawaii. So that's going to be a little tricky. But Tim and Stephen are both confident that I can do these afternoon. They're like, and they were saying, could be that you become a swing trader. It could be that you, because even today I wanted to connect with Bryce about Tim's idea about going back in. And for the listeners, it's February 17th. If you're looking at Mara yourselves. And Bryce was kind of busy. I had a couple of calls I had to hop on. So I was like, okay, once I'm finished with my, responsibilities today, then I can look at Mara. But that would be me taking a trade after hours, which is when I took Mara actually last week. I'm pretty sure I took it Thursday after hours or Friday. I have to check my notes. But so it might be that I can't take my trades until after hours. And then, but it was interesting watching it in there, not being able to do anything about it. We set in a couple of stops, obviously. But, look, the mechanics of what I press, how I get in, how I get out, the only way I'm going to learn it is if I do it. So that's what I'm up to.
Are a lot of them. That's right. Remember that sheet I sent you that I'm building all those different types of trade, like the limit trade,
the terms, the terminology.
Because there are a lot, and each brokerage, I mean, they all have the same fundamental parts of it, but I mean, you can't just like jump into a new brokerage without figuring out the ways in and out of things first.
Totally. It's a lot to grapple with, in the midst of so much around the market itself to grapple with. So I think it's a appropriately intimidating place for people to come. And I think on principle alone, I won't download the Robinhood app, but I like I'm so mad about what they did that I really don't know morally, like as a conscious capitalist, that I could ever download that app. But I hear there's another competitor to them now. So that one I probably would be happy to download. But the reason I'm interested is just the simplicity. There obviously is a simplicity to that, but I would rather be able to learn how to do this, and then I could do it simple or complex, better to understand the full enchilada before I start going for the fast food.
What a great term. I love that comparison.
I want to have the 7-course meal. And if I want fast food, I can have it.
And then if I go to Taco Bell, that's fine. But
that's fine. But at least if I want a full 8-course Mexican meal, I would be able to enjoy that.
Yeah. Let me tell you, once you have the full 8-course meal, it's fine.
Back to Taco Bell.
It's fine to look at a Taco Bell, but you never want to go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly. Once you got to Mexico and have real Mexicans, you're like, what is this crap?
That's funny.
It's funny when Ray asked great questions on the Confessions of a Market Maker. Shout out to Ray and JJ. They had me on their podcast. And if you guys haven't seen my podcast interview with Ray and JJ, it is an hour and 50 minutes long. I just noticed that the other day. I mean, I'm sure I noticed it when it came out. I did it, 2 months ago? Maybe 3 months ago?
I think so. It's like November.
Holy mackerel. They let me go, man. An hour and 48 minutes or some crazy stuff like that. So anyway, it is a great, sounds like I'm being conceited to say it was a great interview. But what I mean is that Ray asked really great questions. And one of his questions at the end was, if I was on death row, what would my last meal be? And the answers were the Four Seasons restaurant in New York, which is not even there anymore, which was like the most incredible high-end cuisine, multiple dishes, or this pizza place on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I think the name of the place was called Pizza,
Yeah.
And they were like,
pizza on the corner.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, those are your two. I'm like, depends on which one was available, So I can go high end, but I can also go low brow when necessary.
I love that. I think we all have that in us in various parts of our lives, right?
Yes. I think so too. So too. It's the variety, you don't always want to go to a 7-course meal or a white tablecloth restaurant. Sometimes you just want to, go to what are those things called? A food truck.
Yeah, absolutely.
The food trucks in Manhattan were really good. There would be actually a half a block line of all the suits at lunchtime outside of some of the good food trucks that we had. And everybody knew the good food trucks from the bad food trucks.
How did you determine that?
Well, it just happens once and you don't forget. And that word spreads like wildfire. Don't go to that truck. It's not going to be pretty.
That's funny.
So usually where the longest lines were, those were the ones that were usually had successfully navigated, a lot of men that were out of shape and clearly white and pasty skinned because they were all working 15-hour days in their office buildings with no, true daylight coming in, freezing cold, because all those hedge funds are always kept so freaking cold because, they feel that their brains are working better at that level. That's why all those guys wore the hedge fund vests. You always see these like fleece vests. Where did those come from? They came from necessity because the freaking offices were 60 degrees.
I did not know that.
Yes. All the assistants, we all had heaters under our desk just to try to stop shivering from the cold because we would have to be there before they got in. We'd get at our desk sometimes at 6:30 and we'd be there till at least 6:30. And that's why they also fed us. Everybody's like, oh my God, you can order from any restaurant in the world. Well, they're trying to keep us to our desk. We'd sometimes eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at our desk.
Oh man.
I know. It was fun to order at fancy restaurants, but still, you were like, I'd rather go to Taco Bell and get the hell out of here.
Give me 30 minutes away.
Please give me 30 minutes away. So anyway, I'm excited about the Mara trade. I'm excited to just see that I didn't lose $112 and gained $19.78.
Big profit.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Now you just got to do it again and again and again every day.
Exactly. That's what Steven said. He's like, now can you duplicate that, Kim, is the question. I don't know.
The crazy thing is with the Bitcoin plays right now, if they're in sympathy to Bitcoin, as long as Bitcoin just continues to crush through, 40,000, then 50,000. Today it went 52. And in after hours, I saw Riot, and I think Mara went up a little bit too, but everything that's Bitcoin related just continues to keep going.
Well, do you remember your first trade, Lucas?
My first, no. I remember my first, like the first stock I bought, and that was Apple, but that was because I worked at Apple.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, but no, I don't. I'm trying to think of my first day trade. I think maybe on Rolls Royce a long time ago.
Wow. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. They're still around, but they're like,
They are.
last time I checked, they're hemorrhaging.
Yes, they are.
So
Are they?
yeah, just because, I mean, everybody is, and they're not really moving into the EV sector, I don't think so.
No, I doubt they will. Poor guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't remember. I wish I did.
It's okay. You remember the first stock you bought. I mean, yeah. I don't think I'll forget this, but it's also, you've been at this a while and, you were young when you started.
Yeah.
I'm not so young. And so I think, this one will stay around in my memory bank for a while, just because it's, such a pivot point for me.
Yeah.
It's such a pivot point. So yeah.
I don't know what this means, but I remember a lot of the big losses I had early on.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, because losses take up, like, what did they, I think it's like 3 or 4 times the pain level.
Yeah, that's the theory of loss aversion, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How much how much harder we take them than wins. And I would say that definitely holds true. If I have a 5%, 7% loss, that's way worse. I think about it way more than I think about a 20% win, which is crazy. Absolutely. 20% is huge. And
it's just, again, the default setting of our brain is not set up to support this endeavor. And we have to kind of keep these reminders in front of us. A good friend of mine is recovering from COVID, and they're frustrated by how long it's taking them, and yet I was saying, let's look at the stats of how many are dead, and let's look at the stats of how many people are on ventilators, and let's look at how many people are still in the hospital. Like, okay, yours taking a little bit longer than you would like. Like, it's, what do we compare to? If we compare, like, well, they got over it in a minute, compared to but we're not looking at the full, big picture.
Yeah. Because
I think our brains just have a tendency to compare to despair. Like, it's just the default setting. And we've got to know that for ourselves, to protect ourselves from being sucked into the gutter all the time.
Yeah. It is interesting that, like, when was the last time you felt like totally at peace and like didn't have those worries of the being sucked into the gutter?
It's a really good question. It happens for me when I go into my prayer / meditation / stillness space. Yeah. I feel very fortunate that at least I can access it in those moments.
Yeah.
And everything falls away.
Yep.
However, being able to keep that once I come out of it, as soon as I come out of it, it lasts perhaps the longest. And as the day goes on, it shortens and shortens and shortens, which is part of why I think Joe Campbell talks about going back to that place within that room where nothing can get at you. And connecting, re-anchoring to whatever that belief system is, spiritual, deity, or perhaps it's nature or science or whatever. Like, you got to connect to that every day, because it's so easy to get caught up in the spiritual traditions. It's called the Maya. The Maya is the matrix, right? So if you get caught up in that and then come back to center. So I do find that when I paddle, I get access to it, because first of all, there's supposed to be no talking in the canoe. And so you're just on the water, you're doing a repetitive thing, and you're looking out at the ocean, and you're looking at the mountains on the Big Island, and that makes it easy. But how about yourself?
Similar. I was going to say, so in the mornings when I meditate, for sure. And then I also journal, and when I work out, the same thing. And I think a lot of people have a similar experience when they're working out, or because there's a lot of types of workouts that become meditative.
Yes.
Like a lot of times when I'm hiking, I'll just count my footsteps up to 20 and then just start again. And it's like, you get in this like really, for myself at least, I get in this really peaceful zone, and it's like nothing else really matters. And it's so nice and beautiful.
Exactly.
And then, I have like mantras that I talk to myself about.
That's awesome.
Throughout the day, just when things are, when your mind starts spiraling, or.
Totally. The spiral for me is catastrophizing. I'm really, I already have acquired, like, I think I'm a doctorate in catastrophizing. I should put doctor after my name. And they'll be like, oh, a doctor of what? I'm a doctor of catastrophizing. Dr. Kim. Oh, she's a doctor in catastrophizing. Nobody else can catastrophize more than she can in her imagination. But that comes from, this very interesting life I've had, where I have seen and been through like so many unfreaking believable things that I can't help but think, looking over my shoulder and waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's just, it saved my ass when I was a kid. Now, not so much. That's
the crazy things that I shouldn't say crazy, but the things that we hold on to, the subconscious mind is like, it holds those values that we don't even know that we have. And we don't unless we really focus on and practice dealing with them in the conscious world.
And even if I consciously am aware, like I was very conscious that I was so triggered over these last few days, right? With a variety of things that were going on for me. And I still couldn't kind of pull myself up and out of it because because I was being triggered on a really kind of visceral level for something that was like really kind of based in survival for me, that I was like, I know I'm overreacting. I know I'm catastrophizing. I could find some peace in the stillness on occasion, but I was like, but I can't fully pull myself up out of the sand pit because I just can't. So it's probably even worth speaking to. At some point, I needed to stop trying to pull myself out of the sand pit because I was very conscious, with conversations with you, with a couple other people in my life, they were just like, okay, you're really triggered about this. I'm like, I know I am. Like, so that everybody was like, you gotta just trust and let it go. I'm like, I can't. I am not going to be able to have peace until I get clarity about XYZ. And in the midst of even trying to deal with it, there was a part of me that was like, I should let go. I should just trust the source has my back. I should be okay with not doing XYZ, which were my ways of like making sure I had all bases covered. And then at some point I was like, but it's still a should. I'm still shoulding myself. So at some point I was like, I am going to be triggered until this particular thing has a resolution. And I'm going to just have to not resist that I'm fully throttled by the throat right now. And that's when it started to I think that's when it started to shift. I was very fortunate to talk to one friend who has a really great ability to just hold space for me and not try to problem solve. She did not problem solve, which God bless all the problem solvers I have around me. I love them all. I do. I'm a problem solver. I love my own problem solving ability. But there are times in the middle of the fire where, God, you don't want anybody giving you a solution. You just want somebody to sit in the fire with you and go, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I had one friend who did that for me the other day. And when I stopped trying to get myself out of it, and she didn't try to get me out of it, she just was like, it sucks. That's when it started to lift. It wasn't like it went away, but I was able to breathe. Yeah. I had a little bit of oxygen in my tank. And I was supposed to do a Thursday, it was a Tuesday Instagram Live. So I talked to her earlier in the morning yesterday, right? Today's Wednesday. It's like a blur. and I talked to her, and then a couple hours later, I was able to do the Instagram Live because somebody was able to hold space for me and not solve it, not give me do this and you could do that and you could try this. I just needed to just sit in it, not pretend it wasn't shitty. And that gave me the ability to move into a space of like, okay, this really sucks. And I'm okay in the it sucks mode.
That's empathy for that your friend gave you and then you gave yourself, right?
Totally.
And it's
totally,
I think, so difficult for a lot of us to do that.
I think so too.
Either way. So
I think people who are smart and intellectual and can problem solve really well, it's probably also just our strength. We probably have discomfort sitting with somebody that we do know we could solve. We're like, oh, they just have to go to here, and then they could go to here, and then they could go to there. And then you should do this. Look, it's this easy. But when you are so triggered, you can't fucking follow point A to point B. You can't. You are not able to.
Yeah, and all you see are just like roadblocks in any direction, and so it's just like.
Correct.
But that's, I think, like you said, if you can just sit in it, like sit in the shit and be like, this is shit, and then you're like, then it becomes clearer that it's just shit, and you are able to
find a way up and out. And I think even people giving you this potential life preserver to pull out, like you still have to grab it, and I feel like sometimes people throw it too soon and knocks you in the head.
And just knocks you further back. That's
or
funny.
knocks you out and you're unconscious on the water.
You're like, well, I don't need that. Throw it back at
I just need to just be admitting that I'm in the ocean and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank God for Shakuntala, this one girlfriend of mine. She just is able to sit there and go, that sucks. And she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I constantly strive to get better at that. I think I'm able to do it in my coaching better than I'm able to do it with my personal
life.
Yeah. Because I really am, and it doesn't mean I don't love my clients, but I have agreed to step into a place of neutrality with them. Whereas my friends or family, I'm so like, I want them to be okay.
Yeah. You're also just much more involved, like
totally
with them personally. And that makes total sense. I think if you look around, I was doing it while you're telling me this story, and it's like, I know people who've done it to me, and I know when I've done it to other people, and it's like, and it's all the closest people to me. And and that's tough, but it's the reality of how we live, right?
Exactly. It is. And it's also, it's indicative of like loved ones. And it's like, well, you want people to love you. You want those that love you and that are around you. They want, you want them to say, well, I want him to be happy. I want her to be happy. I want her to be okay. Like, that's what we want from our loved ones. You don't want a Jocko Willenick on the sideline going like, too bad, suck it up. You don't want that in your bedroom. Well,
some people might, but
it's true. It's a good point. Did you ever see that Billions episode where they got Jocko to show up at the bed?
I haven't seen that. No.
Oh my God, it's so
it must
funny.
be later in the season.
It's I don't know. I think it's last season.
Okay.
The season before, but I guess at some point, Axe. Who is it? I think it's Dollar Bill agrees to be in a fist fight, like a boxing match with some famous other hedge fund.
Oh, really?
Money manager. And so he's like, okay, I agree. And then Axe hires Jocko the real Jocko, and he's at his bed at 4 a.m. and he's had to sleep in bed with his wife. And Jocko's like, time to get up and start training. And he's like, what the fuck? And Axe is standing there like, that's right, Dollar Bill, let's go.
It makes for good. It makes for good TV. Don't act like that in your personal life. So.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, because people, they won't stick around.
Yeah.
But in a way, Jocko is actually what I'm saying is like he's a great example of a coach in a way, right? Because he's not going to hold you as he's not going to kind of. what's the word? Like there is a neutrality to the jockos of the world and to the coaches, like even to the trainer at the gym I've worked with. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're just getting you, you say you can't do more and they're like, actually you can.
I know you can. Yeah.
Right? They know what that tank reserve is. And I think that's part of what the loved ones don't do. They can't be neutral like a jocko could be. They can't be neutral like a coach can be because they care about you, which is something we want. But at the same time, there's a time and a place where we do need people to just be neutral and not try to change it or fix it or, make it different.
Also, just wait until you have a trade go against you. Because you have like the best case scenario ever where you took a trade and it immediately went up. And you never had to see it dip at all.
Down.
So
that's it.
Because then that's where you run into real catastrophizing. And so then it's whether you want to just like swaha, cut ties and deal with it later. Or if you want to like hold on to that hot ember and be like, I'm in control and you will work.
I know. I'm very, it's funny. We were talking about Timbo wants me to watch The Shining, and I'm very empathic.
You've never seen The Shining?
No, I've never seen The Shining.
Oh, wow.
So he's very.
What movies do you watch, Kim?
I know. I don't watch horror movies or violent movies. I probably watch, dramas and classics. I just have a hard time with violence. So.
That's fair.
So he was, going on about the cinematography, and and I'm like, I know Kubrick, I know what's the other one? Kubrick and who's the one that wrote it? It's like Stephen King. It's like the two brilliant minds. He's like, you can't not see it. And Jack Nicholson, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, right? So I call my friend. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this with somebody. It looks too scary, and she's like. I don't think you're going to watch that movie. I'm like, no, I have to watch. I'm going to watch. She's like, I think you need to check the trailer. I put on the trailer. I couldn't even get through the trailer. Like, no way. No way. So where was I going with this story? So ultimately what winds up happening is I come back today, I tell Tim it's not going to happen. And then at some point, Stephen Johnson said the funniest thing ever. He was like, Kim, if you had taken that, if you've taken a short position and you watch it completely crumble before you, that is actually scarier than watching The Shining. And he's like, so now you have to watch The Shining just so you can be prepared for the kind of horror that really is coming your way eventually as a trader. So
that is why, for new traders, no new trader should be shorting anything. Yeah. In my opinion, you should be, you need to go long for at least a year or two. Yeah. Like consistently almost every day going long. So you understand how
makes sense, how
things move, how and why they move. And then not that you ever really know why they move, but at least how things move so that you don't, because going short is just the quickest way to blow up. It's like you said, worst case scenario with your Mara trade.
Yeah.
It goes to $0 and you're out $112.
That's right.
Like worst case scenario, if you shorted Mara and it somehow like Bitcoin went to 100,000 overnight, Mara would be at like $400 and then you'd owe your brokerage, $500.
That would be scary. That would be scary.
That's the difference between shorting and longing. So
I think I'll take long for now. I'll take long, Alex, for 200 for the rest of my trading career. So anyway, after this, I talked to my sister about The Shining, and just like you've never seen The Shining? She's like, you have to see it, the cinematography. She starts saying everything that Tim just said. I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? I'm going to have to watch the damn movie. Now he's threatening to do a live feed of us watching The Shining.
Watching That would be.
We're gonna put a camera on you, Kim, to just watch how many times you close your eyes.
At least if you guys were doing it together, then
That's what I said.
Yeah, you'd be all right. But
yeah, I don't want to do this. I was like, come on, I don't want to. I'm afraid. I want somebody to tell me when to close my eyes. I'll hear the music, but that'll just be like this then the whole time. Anyway,
it's a fun movie. I mean, if you like scary stuff.
No, I don't like scary stuff. I don't like murder. I don't want to watch ghosts. I don't want to watch blood coming out of walls and an axe. I mean, I've seen enough clips of it with the two twin girls. I mean, it doesn't look like a walk in the park.
So first time I saw The Shining I was like 8 years old. And for some reason, my dad had it on. My mom wasn't home, obviously. And it was like the middle of the day on like a Saturday. And I think it was on TV, or I don't know if he put it on, but I just remember being like, this is terrifying. And just.
Did you watch the rest of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And from like then on, like hallways with like any hallway I was in, but from like the age of 8 to 18, I was sure there was going to be like ghost twins in. So.
Oh. God, of course. Oh my God. He was like, he's like Kim, Stephen King, like it's like how, and Kubrick, you can't watch that movie and not be scared. He's like, it's
that is true. Those are some
just not going to happen.
Minds.
Yeah, some definite wild minds. But I was trying to say, like, my empathic qualities serve me well, except they don't let me really watch those kind of movies.
Yeah.
So, I had one good friend, Christine, shout out to you, Christine, who actually spent 2 hours giving me a play-by-play of Pulp Fiction, which I have also not ever seen.
Oh,
because she was like, Kim, this is the best movie ever. And if you can't watch it, I will tell it to you. And she did. She had watched it 17 times. So she knew everything. And I just sat, I remember we were on like a little holiday weekend somewhere. And we just sat on the bed all night. And she just told me the whole Pulp Fiction. It was awesome. So I feel like I saw it.
But you just didn't see the...
Literally watch
the violence of
exactly. She just told me, and then there was blood in the car.
That's exactly what my brain. That's what I thought of when.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the part you don't want to see. The rest is awesome, though. There's so many good things in that movie.
I know. I should watch that too. I need somebody to take all these movies and maybe you can edit them up for me.
Just take out the scary parts.
The violence and the scary
just
parts.
Put in like a little text layer that says, this is where this happened.
This is the violent part, Kim, you don't want to see. Next, we just pivot to the next.
That's funny.
So, okay, we probably talked off on a tangent long enough. So, it's part of these podcasts.
It's all related, in my opinion.
That's right. I think it is too. And we are excited about a couple of guests coming on. Yeah. We're going to be interviewing Howard Blinzen.
Yeah, we got Howard coming. And then we got surprise guests coming up.
Yes, we do have a surprise guest. We can't tell you who. But that one is, I think, going to be, JJ is like, 127 views? That is like
I have no idea.
A really surprise. And we have Brian Lee coming on.
Yeah, Brian Lee.
Yep, he's going to come on.
I'm excited to talk to both Brian and Howard because one, in my mind, they're like complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Like Brian is a short bias day trader and Howard is like the most long-term investment thinker I know of. So
Exactly. That's what's going to be so fun to just have these two very different perspectives. Yeah. And then, eventually I kind of feel like I want to just tease the audience about who the special surprise guest will be. We'll have to figure out ways to do a little teaser. Yeah. But it's pretty exciting. So I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to have fun. So come back to our next episode and please, may I request that if you guys like this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating if you feel we're worthy of that. And or on iTunes, and subscribe. Please subscribe to it. Everybody on YouTube talks about pressing a bell. Do we have a bell, Lucas, that they
you can subscribe? We've got a couple new subscribers in the past week or so.
Okay, good. Is there a bell? Some bell people talk about?
I think it's the bell that is for subscribing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So sign up for that, people. And if you like us, go
sign up for the bell.
Sign up for the bell. Everybody says that their YouTube has. I'm like, what's the bell? I don't know what the bell is. And then if you are game to maybe consider writing a testimonial on Apple iTunes, that would really help a lot. They really help with the algorithms. So I think we have a couple of nice reviews on there, but only 2, I think. So we could use a couple more if you guys are open to it.
Funny, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying that it's actually much more difficult to write reviews on Apple now. So,
is it?
I haven't looked into it, but just it might be part of our. So if you really want to do it, we know that you really care, because apparently it's more difficult now.
That's right. That you really went the extra mile.
Yeah.
All right. And please give us in your comments too what you want to hear us talk about. If you like when we kind of go off on a tangent, if you rather see us be specific about things. And also let's talk about this that I'm doing now, Instagram Lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time to do speed coaching and just a couple of tips and tricks. I call it Tactical Trader Tuesday and Trader Truth Thursday. Yeah. So come to those. It's been amazing. We've had volunteers this whole time who do like 10, 15-minute coaching session with me. And it's a good, nice, steady group we keep having on Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah,
I'm excited about that.
You guys should definitely tune in, and if you're feeling up for it, volunteer for a coaching. It's great. And congrats, Kim, again on taking your first trade. I'm excited to see where this goes from here.
I'm pretty excited. I'm excited too. And, we'll find out. I mean, I have a lot of humility around it because I've talked to too many traders for too many years that I know that humility is the only way forward. So it's not humility like bravado humility, just like, I am so sure that I'm not going to, see my own blind spots. So I think hopefully that helps. I know I'm going to have blind spots. So let's hope they're not costly.
Yeah.
We'll
You're
see.
Gonna be great.
We'll find out. Okay, I hope so. Thanks for the confidence vote. All right, so we'll wrap this up. Aloha from now. In Hawaii, we say a hui ho, which means until we meet again. So a hui ho. Aloha, Lucas.
This has been the Wall Street Coach Podcast with K-Man Curtin. You can find out more about her and her team online at thewallstreetcoach.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving a 5-star review on iTunes. Thank you for listening.